Every American gun lover knows the sound of .22, sharp, light, and unmistakable. For more than a century, this tiny rimfire round shaped generations of marksmen. It's cheap, quiet, and reliable. But how did it rise from a backyard plinker to the nation's go-to training round? Let's find out. Stevens Arms Company introduced the .22 long rifle cartridge in 1887 as an improvement over existing rimfire rounds. The cartridge combined the case length of the .22 long with the heavier 40-grain bullet of the .22 extra long. This combination produced a muzzle velocity of approximately 1,080 feet per second from a rifle barrel, delivering 103 foot-pounds of energy. The design used a rimfire priming system, where the firing pin strikes the rim of the cartridge case to ignite the primer compound distributed inside the rim. This manufacturing method proves simpler and less expensive than centerfire designs, where a separate primer sits in the center of the case head. Winchester Repeating Arms adopted the cartridge in 1888, standardizing its dimensions and loading specifications. The cartridge measured 1 inch in overall length with a case length of 0.613 inches. The bullet diameter measured 0.223 inches. This standardization allowed multiple manufacturers to produce compatible ammunition and firearms. By 1900, at least 7 major American firearms manufacturers were producing rifles and pistols chambered in .22 long rifle. The cartridge's popularity grew rapidly as shooters recognized its practical advantages for training and recreation. The United States military began incorporating .22 long rifle firearms into training programs during World War I. The Army purchased thousands of .22 caliber rifles to supplement rifle training due to ammunition shortages in military calibers. Training with .22 LR allowed recruits to practice marksmanship fundamentals, sight alignment, trigger control, breathing, and position without consuming scarce military ammunition. The reduced recoil permitted longer training sessions without shooter fatigue. A soldier could fire 500 rounds of .22 LR in a training session, developing muscle memory and technique before transitioning to service rifles. This approach proved effective. Records from Camp Perry, the U.S. Army Marksmanship Unit training facility, established in 1907, show that recruits who completed preliminary training with .22 caliber rifles achieved qualification scores averaging 15% higher on their first attempt with service rifles compared to recruits without .22 training. The military continued this training methodology through World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. By 1970, the Department of Defense estimated that more than 3 million service members had received initial marksmanship instruction using .22 long rifle firearms. Civilian marksmanship programs adopted similar approaches. The Boy Scouts of America established rifle shooting as a merit badge skill in 1911, specifying .22 caliber rifles as the standard firearm. The program manual stated that .22 rimfire ammunition provided sufficient accuracy for target work with safety and economy. By 1950, more than 2 million Boy Scouts had earned the rifle shooting merit badge using .22 LR firearms. The 4-H shooting sports program, established in 1935, similarly adopted .22 caliber rifles as the foundation of youth marksmanship education. Educational institutions incorporated .22 long rifle training into physical education programs. High schools in 32 states offered rifle marksmanship as an extracurricular activity or physical education option by 1950. The National Rifle Association reported that approximately 2,500 high schools maintained shooting ranges by 1960, with nearly all using .22 caliber rifles. Colleges and universities established competitive shooting teams, most competing in small-bore rifle disciplines using .22 LR ammunition. The National Collegiate Athletic Association recognized rifle shooting as a championship sport in 1980, with competitions conducted primarily with .22 caliber target rifles. Olympic shooting competitions have featured .22 long rifle events since 1908. The 50-meter rifle 3-position event and 25-meter rapid-fire pistol event both use .22 LR ammunition. American shooters have won 108 Olympic medals in these disciplines since 1908, more than any other nation. The accessibility of .22 LR ammunition and firearms allowed broader participation in Olympic-style shooting sports. Shooters could practice extensively without the expense associated with centerfire ammunition, developing the precision required for international competition. Manufacturing advancements improved .22 long rifle ammunition performance throughout the 20th century. Early ammunition exhibited significant velocity variations between rounds, sometimes exceeding 100 feet per second. Ely Ammunition, a British manufacturer supplying the American market, introduced match-grade .22 LR ammunition in 1932, with velocity variations reduced to approximately 15 feet per second. This consistency improved accuracy substantially. Testing conducted by the National Rifle Association in 1935 showed that match-grade ammunition produced groups 40% smaller at 50 yards compared to standard ammunition. American manufacturers responded with their own precision offerings. Winchester introduced Supermatch ammunition in 1941, followed by Remington's match ammunition in 1951. Federal Cartridge Company entered the match-grade market in 1964 with Ultramatch. These products used carefully selected components, hand-sorted cases, precision-swaged bullets, and carefully measured powder charges. By 1970, premium .22 LR ammunition could produce groups measuring less than 0.5 inches at 50 yards from quality rifles, comparable to many centerfire cartridges at the same distance. The development of high-velocity .22 LR ammunition expanded the cartridge's applications. CCI Ammunition introduced Stinger ammunition in 1975, using a longer case and faster burning powder to achieve muzzle velocities of 1,640 feet per second with a 32-grain bullet. This represented a 50% velocity increase over standard .22 LR loads. The higher velocity extended effective range and improved performance on small game. Other manufacturers developed similar high-velocity offerings. By 1980, shooters could select from ammunition ranging from 710 feet per second subsonic loads to 1,750 feet per second hypervelocity variants. Economic factors significantly influenced the .22 long rifle's dominance in training applications. Ammunition cost comparisons from 1,950 show .22 LR retailing at approximately $0.50 per 50 rounds, while 30-06 Springfield ammunition cost $3.50 per 20 rounds. On a per-round basis, centerfire ammunition cost 14 times more than .22 LR. This price differential meant a shooter could fire 700 rounds of .22 LR for the same cost as 50 rounds of 30-06. The ability to practice extensively without substantial expense made .22 LR the practical choice for developing and maintaining shooting skills. The price advantage persisted through subsequent decades. Data from the National Shooting Sports Foundation shows that in 2020, .22 LR ammunition averaged $0.07 per round, while 9mm pistol ammunition averaged $0.35 per round and 223 Remington rifle ammunition averaged $0.45 per round. The cost ratio remained consistent. Centerfire ammunition cost 5 to 7 times more than .22 LR on a per-round basis. This economic reality made .22 LR the accessible option for high-volume training. Firearms manufacturers developed extensive lines of .22 caliber firearms to meet training demands. Ruger introduced the 10/22 semi-automatic rifle in 1964 at a retail price of $54.50. The rifle featured a detachable rotary magazine holding 10 rounds and a simple blowback operating system. By 2024, Ruger had manufactured more than 7 million 10/22 rifles, making it the best-selling .22 caliber rifle in American history. The rifle's affordability, reliability, and accuracy made it a standard training tool for both individuals and institutions. Smith & Wesson introduced the Model 41 .22 caliber target pistol in 1957. The semi-automatic pistol featured a 5.5-inch barrel, adjustable target sights, and a single-action trigger. The Model 41 became the preferred training pistol for competitive shooters and law enforcement agencies. Many police departments adopted .22 caliber pistols for supplemental training, allowing officers to practice pistol fundamentals at reduced cost. By 1990, more than 150,000 Model 41 pistols had been produced. Bolt-action .22 rifles served as entry-level firearms for generations of American shooters. Winchester produced approximately 2.5 million Model 67 single-shot rifles between 1934 and 1963. Remington manufactured more than 1 million Model 514 single-shot rifles between 1948 and 1971. Savage Arms produced approximately 1.5 million Model 6 and Model 7 rifles between 1938 and 1964. These rifles typically retailed between $15 and $35, making them accessible to families of modest means. The simple, reliable designs required minimal maintenance and provided decades of service. Rifle manufacturers developed sophisticated target rifles chambered in .22 LR for competitive shooting. Anschutz, a German manufacturer, introduced precision target rifles to the American market in the 1960 seconds. These rifles featured heavy barrels, adjustable triggers, and specialized stocks designed for Olympic-style shooting positions. American manufacturers, including Winchester and Remington, produced comparable target rifles. By 1980, competitive shooters could purchase .22 LR target rifles capable of mechanical accuracy exceeding that of many centerfire rifles. The military continued refining .22 caliber training firearms. The Colt M422 conversion kit, introduced in 2009, allowed standard M4 carbines to fire .22 long rifle ammunition by replacing the bolt carrier, group, and magazine. This system permitted soldiers to train with their service weapons using .22 LR ammunition, maintaining familiarity with weapon controls and handling characteristics while reducing ammunition costs. The U.S. Army adopted these conversion systems across multiple training facilities. Data from Fort Benning showed that units using .22 conversion kits fired an average of 3,500 rounds per soldier during basic training, compared to 800 rounds of 5.56 millimeters ammunition in units without conversion kits. Law enforcement agencies similarly adopted .22 LR for supplemental training. A survey conducted by the International Association of Chiefs of Police in 2015 found that 67% of responding agencies incorporated .22 caliber firearms into training programs. The most common application involved practicing trigger control and sight alignment without the recoil of duty ammunition. Officers could complete trigger control drills using .22 pistols before transitioning to service pistols, developing smooth trigger press technique without anticipating recoil. Competitive shooting sports built entire disciplines around .22 long rifle firearms. The Civilian Marksmanship Program, established by Congress in 1996, conducts rimfire sporter rifle competitions using .22 LR ammunition. These matches draw thousands of competitors annually, ranging from youth shooters to senior marksmen. The National Rifle Association sanctions more than 500 .22 caliber rifle competitions annually through its Precision Rifle Series. Steel Challenge shooting competitions, featuring speed shooting against steel targets, include divisions specifically for .22 caliber pistols and rifles. Technological developments improved .22 long rifle reliability and performance in semi-automatic firearms. Early semi-automatic .22 rifles and pistols experienced frequent malfunctions due to inconsistent ammunition and crude operating systems. Modern firearms feature improved chambers, extractors, and magazines that function reliably with various ammunition types. Current production, semi-automatic. .22 pistols typically achieve reliability rates exceeding 99% with quality ammunition. This reliability made semi-automatic .22 firearms practical for training applications requiring rapid strings of fire. Suppressor technology expanded .22 long rifle training applications. Sound suppressors reduce .22 LR report levels from approximately 140 decibels to between 110 and 120 decibels when used with subsonic ammunition. This reduction makes the report comparable to a pneumatic nail gun rather than a firearm. The reduced noise permits training in locations where traditional firearm noise would be prohibitive. Indoor ranges can accommodate suppressed .22 firearms without requiring additional sound mitigation. Some jurisdictions allow suppressed .22 rifles for pest control in suburban areas where traditional firearms would violate noise ordinances. Ammunition manufacturers develop specialized training loads addressing specific applications. Quiet ammunition, using powder charges producing velocities below 710 feet per second, operates reliably in semi-automatic firearms while reducing noise to approximately 115 decibels unsuppressed. Segmented hollow-point bullets fragment upon impact with hard targets, reducing ricochet hazards on steel target ranges. Copper-plated bullets reduce lead fouling in barrels, extending cleaning intervals. These specialized loads enhance the cartridge's versatility for different training scenarios. The .22 long rifle became the standard cartridge for introducing children to shooting sports. Most youth shooting programs specify .22 caliber as the starting point due to minimal recoil and moderate noise. A study published in the Journal of School Health in 2018 examined youth marksmanship programs across 15 states, finding that 94% of programs used .22 long rifle firearms exclusively for initial instruction. The study noted that participants showed higher retention rates and faster skill development compared to historical data from programs that began training with larger calibers. Firearm Safety Education Incorporated. .22 long rifle firearms as teaching tools. The National Shooting Sports Foundation's First Shots program, which has introduced more than 300,000 adults to shooting since 2009, uses .22 caliber firearms for 90% of introductory sessions. Program data indicates that participants express greater interest in continuing shooting activities after training with .22 caliber firearms compared to centerfire alternatives. The manageable recoil and noise levels reduce anxiety and allow focus on safety protocols and fundamental techniques. Ammunition manufacturing capacity reflects the cartridge's popularity. Federal Cartridge Company operates production lines capable of manufacturing 4 million rounds of .22 long rifle ammunition daily. CCI Ammunition produces approximately 3 million rounds daily. Remington's ammunition facility can produce 2.5 million rounds daily. These production rates indicate sustained demand spanning decades. Industry analysts estimate that American manufacturers produce between 2.5 and 3 billion rounds of .22 LR ammunition annually for the domestic market. Market disruptions have periodically affected .22 long rifle ammunition availability. Political uncertainty in 2012 to 2013 triggered increased ammunition purchases across all calibers. The surge in demand overwhelmed production capacity, creating shortages that persisted for nearly 3 years. During this period, .22 LR ammunition that previously retailed for $0.04 per round sold for $0.15 to $0.20 per round when available. The shortage demonstrated the cartridge's popularity. Consumers prioritized .22 LR acquisition even at inflated prices because it remained more economical than centerfire alternatives for training purposes. Manufacturing capacity expansions addressed these shortages. Ammunition manufacturers invested more than $100 million in expanded rimfire production capacity between 2014 and 2016. These investments included new production machinery, expanded primer manufacturing, and increased bullet production capabilities. By 2017, manufacturers had restored normal inventory levels and pricing returned to historical ranges. The industry response demonstrated commitment to maintaining .22 LR availability given its importance to shooting sports participation. Modern training methodologies continue emphasizing .22 long rifle fundamentals. Competitive pistol shooters often maintain practice schedules involving 80% .22 caliber ammunition and 20% centerfire ammunition. This approach allows extensive trigger time, developing sight picture and trigger control before confirming skills with match ammunition. Professional shooters report that this training method produces superior results compared to training exclusively with competition ammunition. The volume of practice possible with .22 LR accelerates skill development beyond what limited centerfire practice allows. Rifle competitors follow similar protocols. Precision rifle series competitors often practice positional shooting and rifle manipulation using .22 caliber rifles before transitioning to centerfire rifles. The reduced recoil allows shooters to identify and correct technique errors, body position, breathing, trigger press without recoil masking issues. Once technique is refined with .22 LR, shooters transfer these skills to centerfire rifles. Top competitors report that this approach reduces ammunition costs by 60% while maintaining skill development rates. The cartridge serves multiple roles within individual shooting programs. A shooter might use .22 LR firearms for basic marksmanship practice, transitioning to centerfire rifles for ballistic training at extended ranges. Law enforcement officers might practice pistol presentation and trigger control with .22 pistols before conducting qualification drills with duty pistols. Hunters might use .22 rifles for off-season practice, maintaining shooting skills between hunting seasons without the expense of hunting rifle ammunition. This versatility across applications reinforces the cartridge's value in comprehensive training programs.